Heyo, welcome back to the Insane Asylum. Welcome to the channel. I'm ProAceJOKER. Today, I wanted to do a nice, kind of simple talk about just Halo Infinite. We've been waiting so long for the game that, we have all these expectations and stuff, but I wanted to go back to the core. I want to talk about what should Halo Infinite do? Just the simple things to just make it what we want. Nice and easy. So, to start this kind of conversation, I want to just be clear. There's a lot of things Infinite can do, and I want to remind people that what games can do really comes down to the reasons why you play games to begin with. Everyone has different ideas of what they enjoy and what they want from new games and the games they already play. Halo is a great example. There's a large percentage of people who all they want is they just want to play multiplayer, right? Some people want to play campaigns, some people want to play whatever it is. And it's different. Each person has different things accordingly, and I think it's something that people need to remember. So, but with that being said, let's talk about what I kind of want from the game and whatnot. I can tell you, I personally, for me, I want to think about the basics, right? I don't like making crazy predictions. I don't like having all these ideas because I think it's just a way to almost set myself up to potentially kind of be let down when the game doesn't have everything I expected it to have. So, for me, I want to make sure that, I want one of the big things for me is the campaign for Halo has always been about the mystery of it, the intrigue, kind of everything to do with the game before all the extended lore and all the books and everything. And there's nothing wrong with all that. But I think one of the main things that a lot of the Halo games have is everything is explained. The UNSC has so much background, and the Forerunners have all this story. I would love to see entirely new direction, not direction with the game, but just new things, new characters, new people, new worlds and stuff like that are, I wanted that overkill experiment. I almost had that. That was good. So I'm very much one of the main things that I want to see brought back into Halo is just mystery, intrigue. Kind of the idea that I don't have and there's nothing wrong, as I said, with extended lore and connected universes and stuff like that. I love that stuff. I love that people are able to find that niche and get into it. So, but for me, that's just one of the starting things is I just want to see new things brought into the game story-wise that we haven't seen before. New ideas. Maybe the UNSC has even more secret programs than all the secret programs we've already heard going on. Maybe it's a new race of enemies that aren't connected to the Forerunners, aren't connected to anything. So another thing I would love to see is the Halo ring. Let's just go with a nice simple, I would love to see the Halo ring brought back. It is called Halo after all, and yeah, they've had a few minor things connected to the Halo rings in the other games, but there's something amazing. I think there's something that just feels Halo-ish, when you're looking up at the sky and all you see is this giant strip of land kind of going across the entire world that is just introduced to you. And I think there's something very mystical, magical about it that brings in that intrigue and mystery to it. I think that alone helps with that. So, I would love to see, let's see, what else? Multiplayer-wise, we need the basics. I think one of the big problems that a lot of the Halo games have run into is the fact that we've run into there's so many game modes. There's so many game modes and different game types that a lot of times they lose track, and we've had some interesting track record of Halo 5 and other ones just not having maybe all the game modes we're used to and all the things that we want in it, right? So, Forge on launch and all that. I understand that, I'm very much in the ball game that I'm okay with things not releasing day one. It doesn't make me want to play it any more or less if it comes out a few weeks later. But I would like to see Forge and all those in the game on launch. I would love to see a big matchmaking hopper. A lot of them. I want to see Team Slayers. I want to see Infections. I want to see objectives and hardcores and all big team battles and all that. And I think an emphasis on those kind of game modes is something that they've always been there for Halo, and so there's not necessarily needs to get brought back. Just simple, right? Things that we know that we're going to get is nothing wrong with making sure, hey, we should probably talk about and make sure this is what we're looking for. So, when we're on the cusp of getting grapple hooks and stuff like that, our imagination can start running wild. I think one big thing, and I think a lot of people agree with me, is that one of the mishaps of Halo 5 was the unemphasis on our main character, is Master Chief. He's always been the main character, and as much as I love Locke, I don't think they handled his character well. I think they could have done a lot of really cool stuff with his character that would have been interesting, but I think taken away from the characters that we loved, and Cortana, and making Cortana evil was great, but I want to see Cortana again. I want to see Cortana and Chief just working together. That old school kind of feel to it. And that game went quick enough that we'll probably do a second game. And it's normal Joker rambling. So on top of, the mystery, the intrigue, and just the kind of the basic multiplayer, I want SWAT and all those kind of things. I think just that basic, the fundamental power 3. I don't remember exactly what they called it back in the day, but when they were balancing the sandbox, a big part of how Bungie balances, and even 343 balances the games, is the 3 things in your toolkit, main 3 things, which is the melee, the grenade, and the weapons. Is they would specifically have those part of how the combat flow is, and I think it needs to have that flow, and almost every Halo game has had that kind of flow to it. There's been some changes from Halo 5, and how the movement is, and each Halo game acts a little differently when they throw in like abilities and things like that, which is fine. Again, we're not getting in the conversation of whether this should have abilities or not. This is just a conversation of what do we think it should have at its core. And I think it's one of those things, is just make sure to balance those 3 out. I mean, that's always been one of the core pillars of how they balance the flow of combat in Halo, and I think it still needs to have that flow. I think those are the big 3. So we also got to talk about, of course, I think the one that everyone really wants so many people talk about all the time, and I think we might actually be getting, is the classic look. It's that Halo look that I think everyone knows and loves. I think many people, I think we potentially are getting it with Halo Infinite. We've seen how it looks in the trailers and stuff like that, and I love it. I think they've done an amazing job. The art designers and stuff somehow have been able to combine the look and that feel, that gorgeous feeling that Halo 5 and even Halo 4, the modern look, I guess you could say, with the classic Halo 3 and even Halo 1. Like, if you look at the Halo armor at different angles, you actually get a different Master Chief each time, and it's really cool. They've done some amazing work with it, and I'm excited to see where it goes from there. I think we're seeing the feel of it too. We're seeing the battle rifle being brought back for sure. We're sure of that, which I think is pretty classic. We're seeing new games and things like that, and I think that brings us to the good point, is I think Halo needs something new as well. I know some people think that all it needs to do is have those classic kind of... Every Halo has iterated upon itself, and I think each Halo should continue to do as such. I think each Halo game has done a good job of trying to further itself and switch it up. I mean, Halo 2 had an entirely new species. It brought the brutes in, right? Like, I mean, the brutes weren't in Halo 1. Halo 3 brought in like new types of flood and things like that. So I wouldn't mind seeing a lot, it's why I'm not opposed to seeing that mystery and intrigue of a brand new species. The first time we saw the brutes, we knew nothing about them. The Halo lore wasn't expanded out that far yet. So I think there's a lot of room to make some really cool new things with it. I think for me, one of the biggest things that makes Halo what it is and why why it's so loved is that customizable experience that Halo seems to give. For some reason, even from the start, Halo has always had this really awesome classic. It was able to show what a classic kind of feel like. Oh no. It created this classic customizable feel, casual players, experienced players, they could all play. You could all, depending on what you knew, you changed how you played the game. It fundamentally changed how you played the game. And not necessarily in a bad way either. So, I think in reintroduction of definitely making sure it has that customizable, not only just, I'm not just talking the look of the game, but how you play it, what weapons you use. Halo had part of the balance of how the power weapons were is Halo's very much the kind of game where the power weapons are powerful. It's not Call of Duty where you spawn in with the best weapon that what you think is the best weapon to use, M16 or whatever it is, and that's what you stick with the entire match. You don't switch weapons. Halo is something that they've always done a pretty good job of making you want to change up and try and change what you're using to give yourself an edge in combat. And that also included in that is Forge and stuff like that. I think Forge, I know I was someone who was kind of okay with Forge not being at launch. Yeah, I think it should have been, but I understand they needed to get things fixed and they didn't want to drop it a broken game. So I under a broken feature. I understand that. So but I think it is important to have Forge at launch. I think the ability to create maps is so important for custom games. Custom games is, I think, pretty classic for a lot of people in Halo. I remember playing Halo 3 custom games and all the crazy speed Halos and Jengas and stuff like that in Halo Reach, and I think it's very important to that as well. And so at the end of the day, I think for me, that's all Halo needs to do. It's a pretty simplistic list when you think about it, is give me something new. Give me something that gives me that mystery intrigue. Make sure that I can play Halo the way that I want to play it. And throw in some classic stuff here and there. And that's all I really need for me to end up enjoying Halo Infinite. Sure, we can go in an extensive list of all the really cool features we would love to see in the minute differences of weapon balances and awesome, ranking systems and how the story should be. We can go into all that, but I don't really need that. I'm a simple man. I just want a nice, simple game. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little different. Let me know how it is. I gotta work on my commentary a little bit, but let me know how it is. Been trying a lot of new content for this channel. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, do all that. Please check out my other videos. I spent a lot of time on some of them. I really love to see some support for it. Check out all that and check me out on social medias and all that jazz. So anyways, though, you guys are beautiful. You guys are sexy. Thank you all for watching and stay sane out there.